Hi everyone. Hi everyone, welcome to my life. If you have ever wanted to learn how to crochet but did not know where to start, you are in the right place. So today I'm going back to the basics and I'm going to show you the main crochet stitches and the rules you need to know as a beginner. So if you are new, don't leave. By the end of this live, you'll understand crochet much better. Okay, so before we start, tell me in the chat, are you a beginner or do you already know a little bit of crochet? Let me know in the chat. And here in front of me, these are the materials you will need, right? You can just get any scissors. You don't need to buy this one. I mean, if you're just starting, because if you're an absolute beginner, only starting, so you don't need any fancy stuff. And we have a stitch marker here, and you can use a paper clip or a hair clip. It doesn't matter. And then we need a yarn needle. A yarn needle is different from a regular needle, right? Because the opening is a bit bigger for the yarn to go through. And also you will need a 4mm hook, or depending with your yarn, because most yarn comes with label on it, and on the label it usually indicated there what hook size you should use for that particular yarn you have. So if you're confused what hook you should pick, check in your label. It will show what hook size you need. Okay, now we are done with that. And and where are you watching me from? Where are you watching me from? Let me know in the chat. All right, so let's start with the most important thing, the chain. So we are going to start with the chain, and we are going to make a slip knot. So to make a slip knot, you just go like so, right? And remove that loop of your index, and then cross the strand like that, bring it across the loop like so. You can use your hook, put your hook in there, and then grab that strand and bring it through the loop, and then you just have to pull to tighten the slip knot. Now you have the hook, you have the yarn on your hook. So now next, what you're going to do after that is we're going to chain. So we are going to start with that, and this is the most important thing because lots of crochet projects start with chains, right? So like I said, everything in crochet starts with a chain. So I'm going to show you how to do your chain here. So to do your chain, you just yarn over like so, right? When I say yarn over, I am putting my yarn around my hook like so, and the tip of the hook right there, the hook part, will just hook onto the yarn, and then you just pull through the loop. Remember, we have this loop on our hook here. You just pull it through, and then that's done. That's one chain. So you see how easy it is to make a chain, right? It's very, very easy. I don't know if you can see. So just put this aside. And so now let's do another one. You just insert, then you pull out. Okay, yarn over, and you pull through that loop. Yarn over, and you pull through that loop. Yarn over, you pull through that loop. As you continue doing that, you see you have created those chains, right? I don't know if you can see. Okay, that's a little bit blurry. There you go. That's so, as you can see, you've created those chains. So now, so this is how you hold your yarn, right? It's like so, and like so. You can just put it anyhow you want on your fingers, like so, whatever is comfortable for you, but make sure that you hold it very tight so that to adjust you're doing you're controlling your tension here, because you see the way my yarn is, right? And I'm controlling my tension like that. So now after you're done with that, so like I always say, when it comes to crochet, just make sure you do what's comfortable for you. Okay, don't worry if it feels awkward. It might feel awkward at first, but as you keep on doing it, to get, easier and easier. So type yes if you see clearly. Type yes if you can see clearly. Type yes in the chat if you can see clearly. So now you know how to do the chains, right? How to do the chains. It's very, very easy. And this chains is part of the beginner crochet. I mean the basic stitches of crocheting. All the basic stitches. Okay, so those are the stitches, very easy to make. Now let me give you the first rule as a beginner. Okay, so the first rule number 1 is that you don't make your chains too tight, right? Because the reason why you don't make your chains too tight is because when you come back to those chains, it will be easy to insert your hook. Did you see how easy it was to insert my hook in that chain? Like so, right? But if you make them very, very tight to the point where you cannot even get your hook through like that, when you come back to those stitches, chains, you're going to fight with them to even insert your hook. So you just have to make sure that the chains are not too tight and not too loose. It's just somewhere in between. Not too tight, not too loose, somewhere in between. Okay, so that's rule number 1. Do not make your chains too tight. If it's too tight, everything else becomes difficult. Like I said, to insert your hook, it becomes very difficult and you'll be more frustrated and you think maybe you can't do it, yet you can. You just need to make your chains loose. Okay, so we are done with that. Now we move to single crochet. Okay, now I'm going to show you a single crochet. This is one of the most basic stitches in crocheting, and I'm going to go slowly for my absolute beginners, and I'm going to repeat over and over again. So for those who are just, learning, so if you're an absolute beginner, just type absolute beginner in the chat and let's chat. Let me know where you're watching me from, and please like this live if you're enjoying this live. If you're into crocheting, please let's chat. What are your struggles, stuff like that. So now we're going to move to single crochet. As you all know, single crochet is just it's a bit it's small it's smaller than a half double crochet, but it's another. Okay, let's not talk about it. Let's just focus on single crochet so that I won't confuse any of you. So single crochet, after you make your chains, like I said, most crochet projects start with chains. So after making the chains like so, we are going to make a single crochet, right? So to make a single crochet, we are going to insert into the second chain from the hook, right? We've got, here's the chain one here, right? That's V, that's a V there, another V, those are chains. So if you want to make a single crochet, we single crochet into the second chain, which is right there. The reason why we single crochet into the second chain is because this one chain is the same height as a single crochet. So this chain we skip here is our turning chain. Okay, that's turning chain, and we don't count it. It's just there to help us move to the other chain. So we don't count this turning chain. Okay. So now to do a single crochet, skipping that first chain into the second chain, you insert our hook like so, right? And then we yarn over, then we pull through. Now we have two loops on our hook. Now we yarn over and we pull through. So that's one single crochet done. Okay, so again we are going to insert into the next chain like so, yarn over. So when I say yarn over, I mean move your hook like so, okay, and then you pull through two loops, 1 2, and then we yarn over, and then we pull through all loops on the hook, and that's a single crochet done. Now we're going to keep repeating, and please don't worry if you don't get it immediately. Crochet takes practice and practice till you get it. So don't be frustrated when you don't get it right. Take it easy, just practice. So now we are going to keep on repeating, right? Insert, yarn over, pull through two loops, yarn over, and pull through two. So insert, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, and pull through two. Insert, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, and pull through two. And the other thing is how you hold your hook, right? There are two ways to hold your hook. You can hold your hook as a pen, as a pen, like that, as if about to write, right? Like so. I can hold it like that, but hi, how are you doing? Crazy coincidence. I'm making a crochet caterpillar. So how is it going for you? How is it going? What stitches are you using? So there are two ways to hold your hook. Like I said, like a pen. I can hold, okay, that's good. I can hold it like a pen, but South Africa. So, and where are you from? Sabrina, where are you from? And I can hold single crochet and increases. Yeah. No, that's yeah, single crochet is actually good. Single crochet stitches are actually good for amigurumis because they don't have, they are all close together. Therefore, because when you're making, putting the stuffing, then the stuffing won't show because single crochet stitches are close together. So yeah, that's good. And decreases, single crochet increase and decreases. Okay. Sabrina says, I'm from India, living in Dubai right now. Okay. Okay, so how is it there? How's the weather? Hmm. I've never been to Dubai, but I've heard it's a great place. It looks lovely. Anyway, so like I was saying, I I can hold my yarn, my hook like a pen, like so, and insert, right? But I'm a bit slow, right? I'm a bit slow when I hold it like a pen. But that's another way to hold your hook. Another way is to hold it like a knife, right? Like you're having, fork and knife, and then knife and fork, whatever. Fork and knife and fork. Like so. And when I hold my hook like a knife, I I'm a bit fast. I'm comfortable with that than holding it like a pen. That is why I say if an absolute beginner, just try everything and play with stuff around and see what's comfortable for you. Okay, because when I started I used to hold my hook like a pen till I was like, oh no, wait, I think holding it like a knife feels better for me. And then I I am a bit faster when I hold it like a knife. So that's single crochet done, right? Those are single crochet stitches. That's the right side and that is the wrong side. Okay, so guys, if you're enjoying this tutorial, give it a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel, and let me know what you're working with. Let me know where you're watching me from. So that is done, right? We are done with our single crochets. I hope I was clear. So if I was clear, type clear in the chat so that we move forward with what we are doing. So like I said, and I'm always saying, don't worry if you don't get it immediately. There's no way you try now and you get it right. Obviously you're going to struggle, but you keep on practicing and practicing till you get it. Okay, don't just try and then just push it aside and say I cannot do it. Keep on trying. Like they say, practice makes it perfect. Yeah, so that's it. So if you're following, type I'm learning in the chat. If you're following, type I'm learning in the chat. So rule number 2, always count your stitches. That is rule number 2. I know it's boring. I know, guys, I know it's boring. When I started, I didn't want to count my stitches, but then I realized if I don't, and let's say I'm making a bralette, right? And obviously it has cups, right? Those cups need to be the exact same size and same number of stitches. So if you don't count when you're making a bralette, obviously you have another another cup small compared to the other. That is why you need to count your stitches. There will be time you don't need, it won't be necessary, but there will be time you have to count your stitches. Okay, so always count your stitches to make sure that you have the exact number of the stitches you started with. For instance, here, if we count our stitches, let me show you. So now I don't know if you can see clearly, but this is a V. You see V's there? Those are the stitches. V's, another V here, another V there. All those V's they are stitches. So that is what we count. So when you are counting, you start with, come on, we start with this one right there. My camera is not doing what it's supposed to do. But anyway, I hope you can see me, you guys. You can see clearly. So this is the first chain stitch, right? That's the first V, and then another V right there, another V right there, and another one right there. That's another V. So those are the V's that we'll be counting, right? Those are the V's that we'll be counting. So when counting, you go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, right? 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, and the last one is 14. This one here, this one before, because remember our hook will be here, so that's 14. That's the last one. So we have 14 stitches. So let's say we keep on working on this with our single crochets. Even if you reach row 30 or 40, you still need to have 14 stitches you started with. If you do not have 14 stitches you started with, let's say you keep on losing the first stitch and the last stitch you did, your work will end up curling, and then you have work like that, and then you end up with like few stitches you started with. If you have 14 here, you should also have 14 on round 30 or 40. It should be the same. And the other thing that can help with that is to use a stitch marker at the beginning here, at the beginning right there. When you're done with the first stitch, with the first stitch, mark that stitch so that you know this is the way I start, and if possible, mark also that stitch. Right, and then you just take your, let's say you're working on the second round, right? You just chain one, because like I said, chain one is just a turning chain that will help us to turn and also achieve the height of a half of a single crochet. So when you turn, you just start single crochet, right? Following your pattern you're working on, right? And then when you are done with that stitch, take your stitch marker again and mark that stitch to avoid losing your stitches and end up with few stitches. And then your work will get small and small and small as you crochet. So by marking that stitch, you will know, oh, this is where my last stitch should be. This is where my first stitch should be, and my last stitch should be. And then by doing so, you don't lose your stitches. Because I know it's I don't know, maybe it's not, it's what can I say? It's more easy. It's easy to lose your stitches right here than to lose your, right here in the on the edges of your work than to lose your stitches in the middle of your work. You know, because in the middle you can clearly see the V's, but here you might be either you will crochet, you will look, not you lose the stitch here, or you add another stitch thinking this also is part of the stitches. So that is why it's best to mark your first and your last stitch. Okay, so that was rule number 2. Always count your stitches. If you don't count, your work will start changing shape without you noticing. Okay, so that's rule number 2. And now we are going to move to half double crochet. half double crochet, half double crochet slash double crochet. So now we are going to I'm going to show you how to do a half double crochet. So now let's go a little higher, because this is a little bit short, right? So now we are going to go a little higher. So I'm going to show you how to do a double crochet. Okay, you'll see this one will be a little bit taller, okay, not just a little bit, will be taller. So because the double crochet is taller, we are going to chain 3 chains. Okay, that's the height of a double crochet. Remember when we were doing single crochets here, we chained 1. The reason why we chained 1 is because that is the height of a single crochet. So now we want to turn here and do our single crochets and do our double crochets. So because we want to turn, we are going to chain 3, because we are about to do our double crochets, and those 3 chains is the height of a double crochet. So we're going to chain just the way I showed you how to, right? Yarn over, and 1, and that's 3. So that's height of a double crochet. Now we are going to turn. Those are our turning chain, just like when we were doing single crochets here, and we chained 1, right? Now because we are doing a double crochet here, we will chain 3, and that is our turning chains. Those are our turning chains. Now I know most beginners confuse, like, does this count as a stitch or not? Usually when you're working on your pattern, it's stated there whether the pattern says it's they count the turning chain as a stitch or not. It's always indicated on most patterns, right? So check your pattern. It will tell you whether they consider the turning chain as a stitch or not. So if it's not a stitch, which means you have to place another stitch here, right here in the first stitch here, you have to place a double crochet. That is if they don't consider the turning chain as a stitch. If they do, which means we have to start your double crochets into the next stitch. I hope I'm making clear. I'm clear. So we are going to yarn over. And so for us now, for the sake of this live, we are going to just not consider this chains as a stitch. So therefore we are going to insert our hook into that stitch, and then we yarn over, we pull through. Now we have got 3 loops on our hook. 1, 2, 3. Yarn over, we pull through 2, yarn over again, and then we pull through 2. You see, that is a double crochet. I'm going to show you again. Yarn over, insert into that stitch. So we insert, you see that V there? This is a V, right? Next to V, this one here. So we're going to go underneath both loops of that V, and then we do a double crochet like so. Again, we yarn over and we go underneath that. There's a V here. We go underneath both loops like so, and then we yarn over, we pull through. Now we've got 3 loops, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, and pull through 2. So that's a double crochet, right? So again, yarn over, insert into that V, underneath both loops of that V, underneath that V. Okay, just make sure you go underneath that V, yarn over, you pull through. Now we've got 3 loops on our hook. 1, 2, 3. You yarn over, you pull through 2, right? You pull through the first 2, like so. You see, I pulled through 1, I pulled through 2, right? So that's what I mean by when I say pull through 2. And again, we've got 2, 1, 2, and then we're going to pull through those remaining 2 loops. That's how you do a double crochet, and then you keep on doing that. Yarn over, underneath the V, yarn over, pull through 3 loops, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, and pull through 2 again. So this is a double crochet. Right, so give this live a thumbs up, guys. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't. If you know anybody who is into crocheting, please share this live with them. I'll truly appreciate that. So we just carry on doing our double crochets. Doing our double crochets. Come on. Doing our double crochets all the way to the end of our work. And again, don't be like me, guys. Always use your stitch marker. For me, I've been doing this for as long as I can remember, and I know which one is my first stitch. But when I started, I used this was my friend, because I didn't want to unravel, because it's not funny when you're almost done with the project, then realize, oh no, I made a mistake in round 5 when you're already done with the project. Don't be nice. So I always make sure that I used this. That is why I keep on saying use your stitch markers, but I don't know why I keep on forgetting to show you how to. I don't know. Anyway, we are just going to mark that first double crochet. You see that double crochet right there on top of that. That's where we are that's our first stitch. That's our first stitch we marked, because remember, those chains, we are not counting them, so we are not seeing them, they're not there. Okay, so now we are going to carry on with our double crochets into each stitch all the way to the end. And I'm going to do a little bit of comparison so that you see the difference. Okay, so I'm going to show you now how to do a half double crochet. So I'm not going to do it here. I know I'm not done. We're left with about 2 stitches here, but I want to do a comparison between the half double crochet and the double crochet, because they look like the same, but they're not the same in terms of height, in terms of how many times you yarn over. So I'm going to show you now how you do a half double crochet. Okay, so as you can see, the double crochet is a bit taller than the single crochet. Okay, the half double, this is the single crochet right there. You can hardly see it, but you can clearly see the double crochet. So single crochet is short and double crochet is a bit taller. So that's how you create like textures in crocheting. Can you see that? That's how you create like textures in crocheting. So guys, is this your first time seeing this? Let's chat in the chat. Is this your first time seeing this? Let's chat in the chat. Do you want me to slow down, or you want me to repeat? If you want me to repeat, what exactly should I repeat? What is it that you do not understand? What in in whatever I've said so far, what is it that you didn't understand? So while we wait for anyone to say something, so I'm going to show you how to the difference between a double crochet and a half double crochet. Okay, double crochet and half double crochet, so which means half of that. Okay, it's there in the name. It's not going to be taller than this. It's going to be the half. So this half double crochet is going to be shorter than a double crochet and taller than the single crochet, because it's half of the double crochet. So I'm going to show you. So like always, I'm just going to start our chains here. All right, going to start our chains. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, maybe 6, maybe 10, so that you see clearly. 7, 8, 9, and 10. And now with the half double crochet, the height of a half double crochet is 2 stitches. So we are going to go ahead and chain 2 more for the half, for the height. So those so those 2 chains is those are our turning chains. So in the third chain from the hook, we are going to yarn over, right, just like we did with the double crochet, but I'm going to show you the difference. We yarn over just like the double crochet, we insert just like the double crochet, we yarn over again just like the double crochet, we pull just like the double crochet. Now this is where the difference is. With a double crochet, you would yarn over, right, and pull through only 2, right, and then you yarn over again, then you pull through the remaining 2 loops. But we are doing a half double crochet, so we're just going to pull through all 3 like so. So that's a half double crochet. That was clear, right? That was clear. So I am going to do that again to show you. You yarn over just like a double crochet, insert just like a double crochet, yarn over just like a double crochet, we pull through just like a double crochet. Now we've got 3 loops on our hook. This is where the difference is. With the half double crochet, you yarn over just like a double crochet and we pull through. This is where the difference is, right? So now I want to do it together. So now we are going to yarn over and then we insert, yarn over, we pull through. Now 3 loops, right? Let me end it here. I'm going to, okay, let me just get another hook so that I will show you exactly what I mean. This is a 4.5. I've used this one a lot, so you can't really see it's rubbing off, but it's a 4.5. It's a G, right? So now, just like we were doing with the half double crochet, yarn over, we insert. So this is a double crochet now. Yarn over, we pull through, right? Just like you see, we pull through. It's the same thing. You see, we have got 1, 2, 3. We've got 1, 2, 3. On a double crochet, we have 1, 2, 3. On a half double crochet, we've got 1, 2, 3. Now on a half double crochet, we just, this is a half double crochet, we just yarn over and then we pull through. We are done with half double crochet. With double crochet, we yarn over, we pull through 2, yarn over, and we pull through 2. You see the difference, you guys? That is the difference. That is only the difference when how many times you yarn over. With a double crochet, you yarn over after having 3 loops on our hook. With a double crochet, you yarn over twice. After having 3 loops on our hook, with a half double crochet, you yarn over once. That is the difference between a double crochet and a half double crochet only. If you master that, that's it. You now know the difference, and you now know both. So now that is what I wanted to show you, the difference comparison, because it's better when you compare these things so that you understand and see the difference yourself. Because if I just say it without showing you where the difference is, then obviously you won't master it. So yeah, so now I'm just going to carry on with my double crochets, and we are going to talk about, we're going to go to rule number 3. So rule number 3 is your turning chains matters. That's rule number 3. Your turning chain matters a lot. It matters a lot. This is what helps your work stay straight on the sides. That is why it matters. Okay, your turning chain matters because it keeps your edges straight. Okay, so always check on your patterns if it's very important. If they say the turning chain is considered as a stitch or not. Because like I said, if it's a stitch, then you have one whatever stitch you're doing, and then you have to be working into the next stitch. Okay, but if not, you work right there. You forget about it and you place your first stitch right in the first stitch. Okay, so I'm just doing half double crochets here. So like I said, the difference between half double crochet and double crochet is how many times you yarn over after you have 3 loops on your hook. Okay, I'm just going to go fast because you know how to do half double crochet now. If you don't, let me know and I'll repeat it. Let me know in the chats and I'll repeat. Stay with me, guys, because at the end of this live I'm going to show you a trick to keep your edges nice and straight. Okay, at the end of this live I'm going to show you how to keep your edges nice and straight and less wavy or bumpy. I'm going to show you how to do that. Right, so do we still have 14 stitches? Let's see, 1 2 3 4 5 6 13 and 14. We still have 14 stitches. Remember, what rule was it? It was rule number 2. Always count your stitches. So I'm following that rule. Always count your stitches. The V's again. Okay, forgot to mark your stitches. Mark your first stitch. It's very important. So we have 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 11 12 13 and 14 stitches, just like we started with here. Okay, so you can count your stitches like maybe after 2 rows or 3 rows, and then you count your stitches. Yeah, not every after row, but if you want to do every after row, it's up to you. Okay, so now rule number 3, your turning chain matters. Like I said, this is what keeps your work stay straight on the sides. Okay, and at the end of this live, I'm going to show you another trick to keep your edges straight. Okay. So, okay, so now we are going to, so now you know how to do a single crochet, a double crochet, and a half double crochet. So as we have noticed, a single crochet is shorter than a half double crochet, and a half double crochet is shorter than a double crochet. Okay, and next. So now, so what next now? So let me know in the chat what you didn't understand, and if you have just joined in, we were learning about single crochets, half double crochets, and double crochets. And if you missed any, if you're just joining, don't worry. I'm going to save this live for later, and you can go back to it and listen to it and learn if you want. Um, so what other stitches do you want me to do, you guys, or do you want me to compare what other stitches you struggle with? Basic stitches? What other basic stitches do you struggle with, you guys? Let's chat in the chat. Let's chat in the chat. Let's chat in the chat, you guys. Where you're watching me from, if you're an absolute beginner, and oh, I also have a playlist if you're an absolute beginner where you can learn, and it's titled Beginner Crochet Course, where I'll be teaching how to hold your yarn, how to hold your hook, what you need as an absolute beginner, and what you don't need. What else? How you hold your yarn. Did I say that? Yeah. But everything is there. We are on day 14, if I'm not mistaken. So go look it up, and I suggest if you want to, learn through that playlist, don't skip a day because each day is the continuation of the next. So yeah. So let's chat in the chat, guys. Let's chat in the chat. Let's chat in the chat, and I'm going to give you tips, okay? Tips, or let's say advice, something like that. If you're an absolute beginner and you're into crocheting and you want to learn how to crochet and you find it difficult, and yeah, stuff like that. So my first advice to beginners is that your first project will not be perfect. Okay, your first project will not be perfect. Don't expect your first piece to look perfect. That's normal. Mine did not either. Okay, mine did not either. It looked, I don't know, like something else while I was trying to achieve something else, but it looked, yeah. So that's my advice to you. Okay, but do not give up if it's you you end up like with your first project looking like something else. Do not give up. Okay, practice is more important than perfection, so focus on practicing, not being perfect. Even 10 minutes a day makes a big difference. Okay, make 10 minutes a day makes a huge difference. And the other thing is that to start with small projects, don't start with like dress or big project. Start with small project like a square or a scarf. Okay, and as you keep on growing and understanding your stitches, then you can progress to doing, big projects like, dresses, cardigans, and all that. And the other thing is use the right yarn and hook. It's very important when you're an absolute beginner. It's very important to know that you should use the right yarn and the right hook. And let's say, for instance, you're making a hat, right? And you use thick yarn. Obviously, a hat is going to be big, right? It's going to be very, very big because thick yarn, it's equal to like big stuff. So If your yarn is too thin or too thick, it can be harder to learn. Okay, it can be very, very harder if like you go for like those crochet threads. Yeah, stay away from those. If you're an absolute beginner, stay away from those thick yarns if you're an absolute beginner, because like I said, it can be very, very hard to learn with those type of yarn. So start with medium yarn. It's easy to see your stitches. You see like this one, it's very, very easy to see your stitches compared to those crochet threads, right? Or yeah, so that's my advice to you. And my other advice to you is you'll feel confused at first. Okay, I'm just saying this out of my own experience. You feel confused at first. If you feel confused right now, that's normal. Crochet feels confusing in the beginning, but it clicks later. Okay, it keeps later and it clicks, not keeps. It clicks later. So yeah, don't give up. And my other advice, learn to recognize your stitches. Don't just follow. Look at your work and learn what each stitch looks like. Right? Learn what each stitch looks like. Okay, so learn what your stitches looks like. Look at your stitches, don't just follow along and see this is a half double crochet, that's a double crochet, that's a single crochet. Okay, and also don't pull your yarn too tight or too loose. Relax your hands. Crochet shouldn't be like, hard. You should be comfortable when you're crocheting. So relax your grip, relax your hands, just relax and crochet and everything will be, but don't be too relaxed, because when you're too relaxed then everything get loose and you have uneven stitches, and that won't be nice. So relax your hands and get comfortable. And another thing is, I keep on repeating this one because it's boring, yes, but it's important. Counting stitches is everything. Okay, this is one thing you don't want to ignore. Okay, I know it's boring. I know you don't want to count your stitches. I've been there, I know it. But it's very important not to ignore this. Count your stitches. It will help you. Okay, it will help you, because I gave an example when I started this live. Like for instance, when you're making a bralette, or maybe you're making a cardigan and you're on your sleeves. If you don't count your stitches, you realize that the other sleeve is longer than the other one. The other one is short, the other one is long. So that's why you need to count your stitches and count your rows as well. It's very important. So another thing, this is one of the questions I always get. It's not like a question actually, but it's something that I always hear. People like saying, "Oh no, I've unraveled my work, so therefore I can't do it. If I have to unravel my work over and over again, then which means I failed." No, that's not the case. It's okay to undo your work. If you make a mistake, don't be afraid to undo it. That's part of crocheting. I have been crocheting for so many years now, and I always make mistakes, and I always unravel my work, right? But what I do is, I know it can be a bit frustrating, right? Especially when you realize later in your project that you made a mistake right at the beginning. I know it can be frustrating, but what I do personally is I just take that project, put it aside, work on something else. Can you close the door, please? Work on something else, and then I go back to it later when I'm less frustrated. Okay, so that's what I do. I just, if you don't have anything to work on at that particular time, and that's the only thing that you're working on, just put it aside, take a walk, do something else, relax, watch TV, play out, whatever you do, just to get your mind off it. And when you are all relaxed, come back to it, unravel, and you do it again. Okay, that's simple, but don't give up. So be patient with yourself. Crocheting is a skill. You are learning something new, so take your time. Okay? Take your time. So guys, if you're enjoying this live, give it a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel, and I have a bonus tip. This is the last thing before I show you the trick and of how to keep your edges straight. So the bonus tip I have for my beginners is if you stay consistent, you can go from beginner to make things like dresses and bralettes, So yeah, just like me. And okay, so that was my last advice bonus tip for my beginners. Okay, so now I've been here for like an hour now and some minutes. So I'm just going to show you how to keep your edges straight. So let's say you're doing a double crochet. I'm going to show you how to keep your edges straight, and also how to close the gaps in between, especially when you're doing a double crochet. So we are going to yarn over 1, 2, and 3, and then you're going to turn your work, and let's say the pattern says this 3 chains counts as our first double crochet, so which means you're going to be working in there right into the next chain. Right, let's work into the next chain stitch after that, and after that as well, and after that as well. And then when you look at that, let me just show you. And then when you see, look at that, there is a gap. There are gaps, yes, in between. It's a pattern with gaps, but there is a bigger gap which is in between here, right? So to erase that gaps normally shows when the pattern says it's using the turning chain as a stitch. That's when you end up with this pattern. So I'm going to show you how to erase that pattern without adding, the gap. What am I saying? Pattern. So now I'm going to show you how to do that without adding another extra chain. So you can just chain 1 here, right? Turn your work, and then no, let's not chain 1. Let's just turn our work without chaining, and into the very first chain here, stitch. Into the very first stitch, do a single crochet like so. Right, now we did a single crochet. Now we have this loop here. You see this loop? and we have that loop. So we are going to insert our hook into that loop, like so, into that loop, like so, and then you yarn over, and then you put through those two, and then again into that loop again, and then you pull through, and then you pull through. You see, now we did 1, 2, 3 of those single crochets. So these are single crochets tagged together. Okay, and now we do our double crochet into the next stitch, and another one, and another one, and as you can see now, you can hardly see the gap, right? So by doing that also, it makes your edges straight and mark the stitch, right? It erases the gap between the chain and the first double crochet. So that's it. That is what I wanted to show you as I end this live, you guys. So that is what I wanted to show you I before I end this live. Okay. So let's chat in the chat where I did not I wasn't clear. Ask me any questions and I'll answer. Ask me any questions, you guys. And please, if you haven't subscribed to my channel, please subscribe. Hit the notification bell so that you don't miss any of my upcoming lives or videos. And if you're an absolute beginner, I've got a playlist on here on my channel titled Beginner Crochet Course, where you will learn what crochet is, what crochet is not, what hook you should use, what yarn you need, what tools you need, what tools you don't need, stuff like that. Busybody. So I recommend that you go and watch it, and it will help you if you're an absolute beginner. And I recommend you start from day one, because each video is the continuation of the other, right? So let's chat, guys. Don't be shy. Let's chat in the chat. Let me know where you're watching me from. Let me know. Let me know. Let me know in the chat, you guys. So, guys, thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for the support. Thank you so much for the love. I really appreciate it. And subscribe to my channel if you haven't, because I'll be going live every 3 times in a week teaching how to how to crochet. So if you want to learn how to crochet, hit the notification bell so that you don't miss any of my uploads. And yeah, thank you so much, and I will see you in my next live. Bye. Oh.